Dell Latitude 5550. If you are on a market looking for this particular laptop, you try to do any kind of research, you might gonna run into the Dell Latitude E5550, which was released about 9 years ago. And you also might gonna run into the Dell Precision Workstation Laptop 5550, which was released about 3 years ago. In this particular video, and we're not just gonna go over this particular laptop, but I would like to compare this new 5550 versus the old model, the 5540, and also I would like to compare the 3000 series against the 5000 series. I got a lot of emails, I got a lot of questions from clients. Does it worth the extra $300-400 going with the 5000 versus a 3000? Before we get into that topic, this is not a sponsored video. I work for a small and independent shop. I have a freedom to choose between any manufacturer, any model. So there is no clickable links. If you could just support me with a like and maybe with a subscribe, that would really help me out. That would really help this channel to grow. Without further ado, let's talk about the Dell 5550. So we have an Ultra 7 155U CPU in here. We have DDR5 dual channel, 16 gigs of RAM. We have a 512 SSD. We have a full HD screen, and it's a pretty basic laptop. So the reason why I'm so excited about this laptop is actually happening behind the back plate, the bottom plate. So let's shut this laptop down. And before we're talking about the ports, the performance, the screen, the build quality in general, let me show you what's the best thing about this laptop. So removing the back plate or the back cover is very easy. All you have to do is just take these screws, just loosen them up. They're not gonna come out. They're gonna stay in this bottom plate. And all you have to do is just use this opener, the tin opener. Unlike the Precision Workstation 16-inch last week, when we had to use 3 or 4 of these combined, this thing comes apart very easily. I already loosened the screws up. I think I should be very easily just find a small opening around the frame. It's technically one of the corner would probably the best way to start this out, and just start moving the opener back and forth until you can grab to some space, and this thing comes apart super easily. It really was designed apparently to be serviceable even on the side of the road. Let's talk about the best part of this laptop, which is definitely the build quality, the performance, the engineering, and the materials they are actually used to produce this laptop. So as the bottom cover, as you can see, the screws are not falling out. You don't have to take a picture. That's what I would normally do if the screws would come out and if they would be different size, and just as I'm taking the screws out, I would print that picture out and put everything in its place, so there would be no problem to assemble this laptop back together. This is plastic, just like in a 3000 series, but it's reinforced with carbon fiber, and you can definitely tell that this is a premium product. This is not prone to have fingerprints on it. I can scrape this with my fingerprint. There is absolutely no issues, no permanent scrapes or scuffs. It is a really solid material. I absolutely love it. So what do we have here? Why am I so excited about this laptop? And it actually comes down to little things, like look at this beehive structure in here. There is nothing in here, just would be an empty space on a 3000 model, and we have this solid firm place, so just keeping the structure as solid as we can. Same thing follows this method, and look at how much reinforcement we have around these mounting points. Now that's going to be critical when we're going to look at the 3000 series. The cooling is really the main difference between the 3000 and a 5000 series. If you looking at the heat pipes, we have 2 of them. They take in the hot temperature to this fan, and this fan is pushing everything out freely on a side. There's no blockage. The performance is great on this laptop. We have DDR5 dual channel slots in here, 1 and 2. Unfortunately, this is getting rare even at Dell. The 16-inch Precision Workstation, what we reviewed last week has only onboard RAM, and that starts at $2,000 and goes up to $8,000. This laptop, as it is, somewhere around $1,500-ish, due to the fact that it has the Ultra 7 155U CPU in it. We have a 512 SSD, we have the DDR5 RAM, the 16 gig, we have Wi-Fi 6 in here, we have the 54 watt-hour battery, we have a 4G, 5G optional card in here. It says MLK. I was not familiar with it. As best as I can tell you, it's called Midlife Kicker. If there's any kind of changes goes on a laptop, after the fact that the laptop is already in manufacturing and they change something, they use this MLK little mark in here or anywhere else in a laptop, which means there was some minor changes which not requiring for a different model number for this particular laptop. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comment section. So what's the difference? The main difference between the 5540 and the 5550, we have a U series of CPU in here, and we have DDR5 RAM in here going up to 64 gig with the U CPU 13 gen i5, i7, i3 with a U. With a 5540 we're going to have DDR4. With the H CPU, high performing CPU, we can get the DDR5. We have two solid state slot in here in a 5550, and with the 5540 we only have one. So the benefit with this, we have two 2230, or we can have one 2230 in here and one 2280. So why would we have a 2280? If you're not familiar with it, it's a significantly larger size of the solid state, and we have a much better heat distribution. We can get a significantly better performance out than the 2230. So that would be the main reason. The battery, let's talk about the battery. So if you're looking at the 5550, there is no estimate from Dell about the battery life, and that is always for a reason. It's not because they forgot to put something out there. So let's switch to the 5540, and what do we see? We see the same exact 3-cell 54 watt-hour battery, and the estimated battery runtime is at about 11 hours plus. Let's switch back to the 5550. Yeah, we have absolutely no estimate. My measurement came down to 7 to 8 hours, and you can say like, okay, Scott, that's a 13th generation CPU, this is an Ultra, this is a 155U, you're pushing this laptop. No, I'm not. All I'm doing is running YouTube in a single tab in Edge browser, and I only getting out 7.5 hours with a screen brightness pulled down to 70%. 32 gigs of RAM, DDR4 probably, versus 64 gig DDR5. We only have one solid state. This slot does not exist, but the battery life is significantly better. Now, since that model is going out, that's the old model, you might gonna get a crazy good offer from Dell or from somewhere else if it's still on stock. So this is what you have to be aware of. Let's take a look at what's the difference between the 3000 series versus the 5000 series. Is the day and night, the construction, the choice of the materials, the build quality is significantly different. We have to withstand definitely less in the 3000 series theoretically what we might gonna get into with the 5000 series. So look at this empty area in here. We have this foam block, we have this beehive structure. Look at how little reinforcement we have around the mounting points versus here, and this is a problem. This is a 3 years old Dell Latitude 3000 series 3510. After 3 years they hitting the shop. If the end user is traveling, they are not holding up. We have hinge issues, the screen is separating, the keys and just falling off the keyboard. The touchpad is shot in a lot of them, and in general they are so much more vulnerable to physical damage. You don't see any fingerprint when I'm doing this, but if I just have a fingernail and just accidentally scratch or scrape this laptop anywhere, these are permanent marks. These are not coming out. We don't have anything remotely even close to this Latitude 5000. I try to scratch it, scrape it in the same way here. When you can't see it, there's absolutely nothing. It's the surface is completely intact and great. So yeah, you are definitely paying more for a model, but if you need to carry this, travel this, your users are not as careful as they probably should, then this is a significantly better investment. It will last for a long time. The hinges are so strong. You need two hands to open. There is no movement on a bottom part, on a top part around the screen when you're opening. You cannot tell the same thing about this. Look how much the screen flexes from side to side. This thing is solid as a rock. Nothing compared to that. When you open this, see how much the plastic flexes in here. The Precision Workstation or the Latitude 5550 has no issues whatsoever. A lot of YouTubers are pointing out, well, when you press down on a keyboard and if you see that the board is flexing, that is garbage. It is not the case. This 3000 series can be actually pretty useful or usable at multiple places. When the end user is careful, when you don't need to travel, the battery can last 12 hours plus on this thing. It's $800 versus $12 or $1,300 with the very same specs. The screen quality is good. I have no problem with a keyboard and a touchpad, and if you just careful and gentle and understand that this is not a high quality robust build, this can be still a great options. So the fan, as you can see, is very different. We have these heat pipes and we're pushing the hot air without any blockage or any problem to the side, and that is not a case in a cheaper categories. What we have here, we have a smaller fan and we're pushing the hot air to the back side of the laptop, which doesn't sound pretty bad, but as soon as you open your laptop, what we're going to happen is, see this opening, we're going to block this successfully with a screen. So what's going to result this area in a laptop will start warming up significantly more than the rest of the laptop, and also we're heating up the bottom of the screen. Earlier I was concerned that this is going to cause an issue. There is no LCD failure due to that, but what's happening is throttling. This laptop with the same CPU will be throttled significantly. Well, how much? I cannot tell you between the two. I had a Lenovo E series with the S series last week here at the shop, two of them, same matching CPU, same amount of RAM, same solid state, same screen, and the throttling, it's the same thing. The L is positioned, the fan is this way, pushing the air out freely, the hot air, and the E, same exact thing. You open it, you block the screen literally, and 20 to 40% due to throttling. That's a lot. Now, if you're just using Word, Excel, Outlook, and not really do much, you're not going to see a whole lot. This thing is still completely a feasible option for an entry-level job or office applications. Is perfect. This is a different build with a different price point. It is a very solid, very firm machine. I think I went through everything I wanted in here. I just love how this thing is built and designed. So let me put the bottom cover back on. Very easy, the same way. Just have to gently place it in the top, and it's literally everything gonna snap back into its place. I usually do at least 2 or 3 rounds of this. Just go around the laptop to make sure I haven't missed any spot and it's all tight around, and then I'm going to start tightening up the screws. It is really a serviceable laptop. It's very easy to work with this laptop. Let's start with the ports. What kind of ports do we have? Well, on the side, as you can see, this is where the hot air leaves the laptop. We have 2 USB-C ports. They can be used charging ports. There is a little LED light, shows you if there is happening the charging or not. We have a 4G or 5G SIM card option in here. We have an SD card. We have a headphone out. We have 3.2 USB ports. We have 2 of them, which is great because some of the like a Precision Workstation 16-inch doesn't have that, just USB-C ports. We have an HDMI 2.0 port, and we have a hardwired connection and a Kensington lock. So this thing is great. This laptop is chunky and bulky and somewhat heavy. Just I would expect, it feels like a quality chunky and bulky in a good way. Like it feels solid. I would rather carry this laptop than something which feels more agile or lightweight, but the build quality is not here as what we get with the 5000 series. With the 7000 series, that's where we're gonna get metal parts and reinforced carbon fiber. In here it's plastic reinforced with carbon fiber, but really great quality stuff. As you can see, when we open this thing, we need 2 hands for the hinges. They feel massive and solid. There is no flexing in this area. There's no flexing in this area. The screen is firm as anything. I absolutely love it. The keyboard, very important. We have a numpad in here. We have all the numbers on the side. We also have a backlit keyboard and a touchpad. Everything feels robust almost to the point, and it feels like over-engineered. It's really like you're pressing it down. It feels like there is quality, and there is something behind it. Tells you that this stuff is good. So let's hit the power button. The laptop will boot up pretty quickly. Applications are running fine. I was running a crystal benchmark on the solid state. We have over 5000, which is great. We can even have some room to put something faster in it. When you move things around, it doesn't feel like this is the fastest machine on planet or even booting up. For some reason, Dell Optiplex all-in-one, I reviewed that about a month ago. That's an all-in-one desktop computer, and that thing feels like it's faster than anything on the planet. I don't feel like the same speed is happening in here. With a higher end CPU, better RAM, better solid state, that thing is, for some reason, is just awesome. So we have a full HD screen in here. It's a 250 nit screen. I had to double or triple check to make sure that this is not a 300 nit screen, because it feels like brighter to me. It's sharp. The colors are vivid. Really like this screen. It's a full HD basic screen. It's totally matching with how the performance and build quality and what we have in here. This is unfortunately was over-spec'd. This laptop, the client or the end user are going to be only doing remote work and using Microsoft Remote Desktop. There's the i7 or Ultra 7 CPU will not do much. Other than that, it's really a good laptop. The webcam, let's head over to Dell. Let's look at the Latitude 5550. What do we have? If we scroll down regards of the webcam, we see this beautiful presentation that the HDR makes all the difference on a webcam quality, and it also states on the bottom that this is not an actual footage. So let me put this up side by side. What do we have from marketing and what do we have in real life? When I took that laptop out, the Precision Workstation, which had the same 2 megapixel camera, privacy shutter, that had IR in it, so that was Windows Hello compatible. This thing is not, but the same quality webcam. I didn't feel great. I was worried that it's not going to be even good enough to do the face recognition. It went through, it was successful, but the pixely thing on a laptop which starts at $2,000, this thing is $1,500 plus for sure. I would love to see a 5 megapixel camera. Not 2 megapixel camera can go into the sub $500 or sub $800 category. Anything above, I don't get it. The speakers, if you're listening good quality music, they're gonna be good. There's no bass coming out of this thing. The size of the speakers not indicating any way that you would expect a really good bass coming out of this laptop. If you move the slider around, I don't know if I can show you, about 70% volume, it's disoriented and feels like that the speakers, sounds like that the speakers are resonating in that place and have this extra vibration. I'm not sure why. Again, this is not the the category where I would love to see these speakers. I wish we could get some better speakers, better webcam, and maybe some improvement over the battery. Performance wise, this thing is awesome. There is no screaming fan in here. The fan, I cannot really hear it when I'm pushing the laptop with benchmarks. I bashed benchmarks against this thing for like 2 days, and it's absolutely solid. The performance is great. Let's look at Cinebench R23 and R24. Let's look at Geekbench. You can also looking at the speed of the SSD. Let's look at 3D Mark and PC Mark 10. I'm very happy with the performance coming out of this laptop. It's with the build quality, the materials Dell used, I absolutely love this thing. If there's anything missing from this review, if you have any question was not discussed in this particular video, it could be about anything, laptops, desktop, just let me know in the comment section. I will do my best to answer all the questions. Again, it's a very small channel, unsponsored, completely not sponsored. If you could help me out with a like and a subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I'll see you at the next video. Scouts out.